Hey everybody, a little bit of an update on my Airfix James Bond Little Nellie. I got it all assembled. Now it's just a matter of doing some detailing. So I plan on doing some washes and stuff like that. I got James Bond in there painted up. I did him with some acrylic paint. And then I cleared it with matte clear, Rust-Oleum matte clear. So I got him in there. I try to get him as good as what's in the video or in the movie. And these are the smoke and flamethrowers, and then here's the multi little missiles, and then the heat sinking missiles. If you notice in the little missiles on the side, there's nothing in there. Those were the ones that shoot out like a little toy. So I end up cutting all that away, modifying that, and I have to figure out how I'm going to do the inside. So the top helicopter part does spin. That way, depending on how I'm going to display it, will be how it goes. The one here does not move. I should have glued it together earlier so I could have had that move, but I just put it in a spot that looks good for everything. It's not in the way to see the detail on that. Another thing is I am going to run wires. These are supposed to be like the spark plugs, so I'm going to run wires. And then on the levers on the one side, then they come around. Here I'm going to run the wires from those two back, because the top one where his hand is on is the throttle. I don't know what the bottom one is, but I'll run wires from those there. So let me stop it. Try to get as close as I can. So I've been watching people paint miniatures, and so I kind of went the same route as they do on that. I have been using a wet palette for my acrylic paint, and it does a night and day difference. I'm gonna probably do a video on that when I show a lot of my other little mini figures that I've been painting up, trying to get those going for dioramas and everything like that, and for things like this. So as you can see, I got a lot of shadows into the shirt. It was supposed to be like a creamy tan shirt and everything. So I did his eyes with a wire, because with a brush it would be too big. But I had to modify this a little bit. This assembly up here with the motor and all that was one piece shaft up here. I wanted to glue this gas tank together because it needs to be painted. So I had to assemble it and cut it off right below this, and I put a brass stem in there with a matching hole. So that way this can be all realigned up, and I use brass so that way it's strong, because now that would be the weak spot, but I used brass inside there, and then all these brackets and all that after I painted this tank, because I wanted to hide all the seam lines and be able to sand them. Well, on the front section I wanted to be able to do the same thing, but the way they designed it was you were going to take the two halves of the body after assembling everything together and then glue them together, kind of like how you do a plane. Well, the only thing that was in the way was this front tire. So that I end up drilling a hole in the frame, and I used a wire and a brass tube that would fit over that wire tightly. The brass tube is about the same size as that styrene was, and I made that brass tube look just like the styrene, which has two larger pieces, and then the front wheel suspension actually glues onto that. The front decal was two pieces, so it was split right down the center, one half and then the other half, so you had it lined them up perfectly. So as long as you took your time on that, you can get a good result. The center black piece was actually painted black, and then I cleared over everything. I still have to drill a hole right in the center, and I'm either going to use a very small brass tube or a wire, and I think that's probably like supposed to be some kind of airflow meter, so but right now everything is actually glued on. So everything there that comes out of the kit is on there. But like I said, I want to do the wires and a throttle cable, maybe a brake line or so. But it only took me a couple days to get this far. So that says something about how well the kit's actually built. It was designed very well. A lot of detail in it. Just had a couple things I had to modify, and that was probably to appeal to everybody. The coolest thing is that it's 1/24 scale, so you can compare it to a car and everything. So that's, and also it does have these brackets that actually, for if it wasn't in flight mode, they're in the movie. This one is on the back and there's one on the front. So these would actually be holding up the prop. So if I move back, and my other James Bond build you saw in the past videos, that kind of gives you a size comparison of them next to each other. So you can see it goes well with all the other models in my. So that way you can display them all with all your other James Bond builds and everything. I'm very happy that they did that in 1/24 scale. So, but that's what I got for you guys. Hope you enjoyed it. There will be a final, because this ain't the final. I will do a final video after I get all the wiring done. That shouldn't be too far from now. I'll do some washes and stuff like that to add a little bit more detail. Kind of looks a little plain right now, like on the top and everything. There could be a lot more washes. So until then, I'll see you again. Bye.